Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I will be giving you a little update on my reading journal. I know a lot of you guys have been asking for this video, so I apologize that it has taken this long, but today we will update all of the trackers together, fill up some of these spreads, and I'll tell you about all the books I've read so far in the second half of the year. This might be a different style to my normal videos, so I hope you guys enjoy the more laid-back vibes we have going on right now. I really love to work on my reading journal at night for some reason. Many of you guys also asked about how I print out the mini book covers for my spreads, so I will also be showing that a bit later in the video. Right now, I am writing the review for Thornhedge by Kingfisher, which I read back in August. Sometimes when I set up these spreads, I'll be in the mood to do all of the decorations, but not the actual writing of the review just yet. Sometimes I just like the book to marinate in my brain for a little bit before I make any solid thoughts on it. So what I'll do if I'm not in the mood to immediately write the review is that I will write my initial thoughts and like bullet points on a sticky note and leave it on that page so that when I'm ready to write the review, I can refer back to what I thought of the book initially, if that makes sense. So that is what you see me referring to right now. Thornhedge is a really short and sweet book. It's only 100-something pages and it's a twisted retelling of Sleeping Beauty. It read like a fairy tale you would kind of listen to going to bed as a kid, and it felt very familiar even though the story is new, and I really loved the atmosphere of the book and really enjoyed it. On the left page, you might be able to tell that I also finished Babel in August. I started the book back in like December of last year maybe. I initially really enjoyed the book. Like I liked the academic setting, and being bilingual myself, I loved and could relate to all of the nuances to do with language and the art of translation. And the only reason I just finished it now is because I felt like it got really slow towards the end of the book, and one day I just put it down and never felt inclined to finish it until I woke up at 4 a.m. one random day in August, and for some reason I was thinking of Babel, so I decided to pick it up and finally finish the last few pages. I did feel like the end was not as polished as the beginning, but I really enjoyed the book, and if you like languages, especially if you are fluent in multiple languages, I think you will really love the book too. Another book I read in August is Don't Let the Forest In by C.G. Drews. This is my favorite read of the year so far and probably my new all-time favorite book. I'm so glad I found this book, and I'm so glad I found C.G. Drews. Don't Let the Forest In is about two boys. One writes disturbing, twisted fairy tales, and the other draws the monsters from these fairy tales. And what happens when these monsters might actually be real and come to life and is haunting the school. And it was so beautifully written. The description of art and art supplies in this book was just immaculate. It was just these boys' obsession with each other and the creepy forest by the school, which was described so beautifully. Like I could smell the dirt and the trees like coming out from the page. The book also includes illustrations of these monsters, and the line between what's real and what's psychological is really blurry. I kept rereading sentences and paragraphs to like fully take it all in. I really love how C.G. Drews writes, and I already pre-ordered their other book, Hazelthorn, and I cannot wait. It's only a few days until it comes out as I'm recording this voiceover, and I will be an insufferable human being when I get my hands on that book. One final book I am backfilling before we move on to the other reading spreads is Love on the Brain by Hazelwood. After I read Don't Let the Forest In, I was in a bit of a reading slump. I felt like nothing I would pick up would be as good as Don't Let the Forest In, so I was struggling for a while and I was like, you know what, let's do a complete 180 and read a fluffy little romance. I enjoyed The Love Hypothesis when I read it back in uni, so let's pick up another Hazelwood, and it was fine. It was what I needed it to be, honestly. It was silly, funny, and fine. I didn't enjoy it as much as The Love Hypothesis, but it got me out of my slump, to be honest. It a bit too much spice for my liking, but I love all the subtle and not so subtle sciencey elements thrown in with all Hazelwood's usual writing. It's silly, funny, and I did enjoy. I did have a good time. Here I'm just printing out all the elements I want to use for the reading spreads on regular printer paper. Most of them are just stuff I found on Pinterest, and I lay these out on like a page in GoodNotes and just print it on my home printer. And yes, I did reread the Shadow and Bone books. Was it an excuse to make a reading spread for the series in my reading journal? Maybe, but I was really wanting to read the King of Scars duology. I've never read the King of Scars books, and before diving in, I just wanted a recap of the events that happened in Shadow and Bone, and so I started reading and then I read all of them. I'm printing out the book covers on my little Kodak printer, and here you also get a sneak peek of another book I read in September. For this, I just find the book covers online and lay them out for the printer format. I actually have a video on my channel on this little Kodak printer. If you want to know more about it, it's quite old, but it's on my channel. You can go find it. And once I print them out, I just cut them with a craft knife. The cartridge size for this printer is 3 by 3 inches. And I can fit 3 book covers on here for the reading spreads, but for my trackers I print them out a little smaller so I can actually fit 6 book covers per piece of paper. Like I said, most of the artwork I use for these reading spreads, I will find them online, and sometimes I'll draw if I really like a book. Like in the case of Don't Let the Forest In, I drew some of the art I used, but mostly it will be stuff I find online, and I'll leave the credits for the artists on screen as well as in the description. When I was setting this up, I was using a brand of glue tape I don't usually use. I ran out of glue tape and grabbed the cheapest one I could find at the closest stationery store, which I shouldn't have done that. I should have waited a little longer before I could go and buy my regular brand, which is Tombow. I love Tombow, so while setting this up, I was getting really frustrated with the glue tape, but I made it until the end without crashing out. But for the other spreads, I did go ahead and buy the Tombow glue tapes, and it was a much more pleasant experience. Shadow and Bone is a classic fantasy story. It is one of my favorite worlds. I love the Grishaverse, and it does read like on the younger side of young adult, I feel. And maybe because I know what happens roughly, nothing felt catastrophic, and I just knew like at the back of my mind like everything is gonna turn out fine. But we get thrown in right into the action, and things just kept happening, and it was just really fun and nostalgic. And then I said that I wanted to read the King of Scars duology, so what did I do after my Shadow and Bone marathon? I reread Six of Crows. When I first read Six of Crows, like years and years ago, I read my auntie's copies, and I just recently got my own physical copies because I've been really into like annotating books lately. So yeah, I read Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. I was also still having like post-book depression from Don't Let the Forest In, and so I figured if I didn't want to pick up something new, why don't I just read something I know is good? I love Six of Crows so much, and reading it now as an adult. When I first read Six of Crows, I was maybe a year or two younger than the characters, and now I'm a few years older than the characters, and my heart just breaks for them a little more, especially Inej's story. And Leigh Bardugo just announced that she is continuing the story. She is currently writing, I think it's a collection of letters the crows write to each other after the events of Crooked Kingdom, and apparently Wyland's letters are in a form of sheet music, so which I'm so excited for. It just felt like perfect timing because I heard the news as I was finishing up Crooked Kingdom. The book is not going to come out until like mid 2026, but now I have something to look forward to, and I am so happy. I know throughout this video I'm not really commenting much on the spreads themselves. This is the first reading journal update video I've ever done, so please do tell me in the comments if you would want more commentary on the spreads and the supplies I'm using in the future. For some reason, I felt a lot of resistance while filming my reading journal. Maybe it's because it's a new style for me. Usually my bullet journal videos are quite planned out, but with these spreads, I'm going in with very little planning, which I think I will get used to eventually. But please do tell me in the comments if you are enjoying this video or anything you want me to include in future updates. I then also read the Stolen Heir duology. Well, I finished the Stolen Heir in September, and I'm still not done with the Prisoner's Throne. The Cruel Prince is one of my favorite series. I love The Cruel Prince, and reading this duology, it made me realize how much I did not remember about The Cruel Prince. Like major plot points, I forgot what happened, and I feel like that's the vibes with Holly Black's books, or maybe it's just me. Like, I don't remember what you said, but I remember how it made me feel kind of feeling, and it's the same again with the Stolen Heir. I think I've already forgotten a lot of the stuff that happened in the first book, but I also felt like not a lot happened. In this duology, we follow the baby brother Oak and Ren, but now I think it's set like 10 years after the Cruel Prince, and he is now all grown up, and we go on this adventure. But it was just a lot of like stumbling through the forest. It was just vibes. There is a plot, but it's mainly vibes. There's a lot of walking, and you do absolutely need to read the Cruel Prince before diving into this duology, because it's pretty much like 80% of the characters we get introduced to in the Cruel Prince, which is nice. It's nice to see where their lives are now 10 years later. And I'm not done with the duology yet. I'm halfway through the second book, and I like to rate series as a whole, so we'll see what I think of it at the end. Let's also update the trackers. Here I'm sticking on the book covers for the Stolen Heir and the Prisoner's Throne. I did read 2 other books in between reading the Prisoner's Throne on and off, but you'll have to wait and see what they are in my next reading journal video. Let's do a little flip through of all the books I read so far in the second half of the year. I've really been enjoying my reading journal and can't wait to create more lovely spreads in here, and I hope you've enjoyed it too. And I know I still haven't written a review for Six of Crows. I just don't feel up to it just yet, but I'll get to it eventually. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. My Patreon, discount codes, social media accounts is all in the description. As always, have a wonderful day or night wherever you are. Bye!